one of the main reasons why it's so silly to talk about things like, well, who's going to get the last shot with this group when you're talking about multiple stars, that sort of thing tends to naturally work itself out when you have smart basketball players. Who's in the best rhythm? Who's got the best defensive matchup? How are they defending the action? The Lakers were trying to play through Luka and Austin in the fourth quarter. The Sixers were defending it in a way that was forcing LeBron to beat them on rolls, on pops, spacing from the wing when Ayton was rolling. Then, when Austin and Luka did get looks for themselves, they were missing because they were a bit out of rhythm. So things naturally lended themselves to LeBron being the scorer down the stretch. And that's the luxury of having your third best player that, be a guy who made an all-NBA team last year. And LeBron talked about this after the game. He basically said, I'm going to do whatever the game calls for from me, I'm going to do. Next game might not be a LeBron scoring type of game. Maybe Austin's in better rhythm. Maybe Luka moves off the ball in crunch time. These things, again, they tend to naturally work themselves out as long as you have really smart basketball players at the helm of your team. And they'll figure it out when that situation comes up. They'll figure it out naturally. They'll know who to play through. And ultimately, having three of those dudes is a luxury. Couple of quick small things with LeBron that I want to hit. First of all, LeBron is a screener on Luka. We're not going to see a ton of that because they're going to switch it the majority of the time. But in situations where they identify that Luka is getting blitzed, all of a sudden it makes a ton of sense, right? So if the blitz is coming, then the switch is not a factor. LeBron's going to get open, and I love him being the first passer on that 4-on-3. So I thought it was really fascinating that on the blitz where Luka turned it over, it was with Ayton, and there was a miscommunication between Ayton and Luka where Ayton kind of short rolled to the foul line and Luka thought he was going to pop. Probably a bad read from Luka because I don't think Ayton's popped once a single time this year. But Luka ends up throwing the ball out of bounds. The adjustment the Lakers make is they go, Sixers are blitzing. Let's have LeBron set the screen. Let's have LeBron be the first guy to make the read. I think that's an interesting way to use LeBron in these games when Luka starts getting blitzed. As soon as the coverage comes down from the head coach on the other team, we're blitzing Luka, start using LeBron as a screener. That's when you can start to unlock him at the beginning of those 4-on-3s as a scorer or as a read maker. Secondly, LeBron's turnovers. I've been really fascinated by how little LeBron is turning the basketball over this year. He's averaging 7.6 assists per game, which is just a touch below where he was last year. He was at 8.2 last year, 7.6 this year. So just a small decrease year over year, less than 10% decrease year over year in his assist volume. But he's averaging 1.9 turnovers per game. That's half of what he averaged last year. And I think the reason for that is he's not dealing with the same kind of mental fatigue that he dealt with in years past that comes from high usage. This is what is happening with Luka. Luka's turnovers are almost always just like, okay, it's like the 20th ball screen I've run in this half. And I'm just making a sloppy read because my brain is just fatigued from the sheer volume of initiation that I have to do. That's what you're seeing with Luka, and that's what you saw in years past with LeBron. But LeBron's usage rate is 8% lower than it was last year. So those like mental fatigue turnovers are not a factor anymore. In fact, he's getting the ball so much less often that when he does get it, you can see LeBron is laser focused every time he gets a touch to capitalize on that opportunity because he knows he's not going to get as many. That high assist percentage relative to the volume that he has and the low turnovers are actually making LeBron a very efficient shot creator in the half court this year when he's had his opportunities. He's run 25 pick and rolls, 20 ISOs, and 28 post-ups this year, including passes. So 73 possessions in 7 games. That's about 10 times a game. Last year, that number was 1,399 in 70 games, or about 20 times per game. So he's initiating action as the primary ball handler about half as often as he did last year. But in those possessions, he's been surgically efficient. 1.12 points per pick and roll, including passes. 1.10 points per ISO, including passes. 1.25 points per post-up, including passes. Those are all in the 80th percentile or better, according to Synergy. So like you're seeing a situation where he's being relied on offense less often. So when he has the ball, he's laser focused and he's super efficient. And it's been a big boost to this offense. And last thing I'll say about LeBron before we move on, he's looked far and away like the most explosive version of himself that we've seen all season in that game. And for some reason, what's bothered me with the way I've seen his athleticism discussed by people is people are looking at it as like the result of him wearing down over decades of basketball. And that's not what's happening at all. He's not wearing down, he's ramping up. And yes, at his age, ramping up will take a lot longer. And the question will be, where will he plateau when he's finished ramping up? And when he gets there, will he be able to stay healthy? And I don't know. But the last time he ramped up, last year in January and February, he literally looked like one of the top tier superstars in the league, which is why he was 6th in MVP voting. Now, will he get to that level again? There's certainly no reason to think he can't, but it's obviously less likely than it was last year. However, it is still a possibility. I think he's going to get pretty close to that all NBA level at some point in the next month or so. And as far as the injury risk goes, he's running half as much action in the half court as he did last year. He's spotting up more than ever. He's literally playing the fewest minutes per game out of any season in his entire career. He's not playing back-to-backs, at least until he's finished ramping up. The Lakers are doing everything they can to minimize that risk. So, I mean, as far as it goes with LeBron and his athleticism, like he's on the way up. We'll see what level he can get to. We'll see if he can stay there. But I think it's ridiculous to just assume the guy we saw in Toronto was just the new reality for LeBron. It's not. He's ramping up right now. Nice response on the road trip from the Lakers after that Phoenix loss. You beat 2 Eastern Conference playoff teams in their building. You lose a tough back-to-back against a red-hot Celtics team that's just been cutting everybody to pieces, and Luka and LeBron were out of the lineup in that game. Obviously, Lakers on the tail end of a back-to-back tough game in Toronto. I want to credit the Celtics there, too. I thought they just played awesome. We're going to talk about them in a minute. But overall, this road trip was the type of response you expect from a dead serious basketball team that has goals to win a championship. I don't know if the Lakers are as good as the Houston-Denver tier yet. I want to see them look better against some of these bigger and more physical defenses. This week's games against San Antonio and potentially Oklahoma City will be an excellent next test for them. I also still think they need to trade for a starting small forward. But in terms of the controllables, the checkpoints in that locker room, they are meeting every single one of them so far. They have great camaraderie and chemistry. The vibes are excellent around this team. They're 10-3 on the road. That's always a strong indicator for a dead serious team. They are yet to lose 2 basketball games in a row. That's always a strong indicator. They have a winning record against teams that are 500 or better. Really, the only thing that's missing is that signature win. They need to go against one of the top tier contenders in this league, Houston, Denver, OKC, and they need to beat them to show that they can. And the first time did not go well against Oklahoma City, right? But they'll have their second chance this week if they can take care of San Antonio. And by the way, San Antonio is no slouch. That game on Wednesday is going to be a tough one. Quick little rundown. I should have done this off the top of the show, but our schedule for this week is going to be a little funky because of the in-season tournament. We have today's show today. There is no show tomorrow because we're going to be working this weekend for the in-season tournament. On Wednesday, we will be waking up in the morning to cover the Tuesday night in-season tournament games. Those will be on Wednesday morning. Wednesday night, we'll be going live after the final buzzer of Lakers Spurs to cover that as well as the Thunder Suns game. So we'll go twice on Wednesday. We will have no show on Thursday. On Friday, we'll have that video coming out in the morning. That's going to be that breakdown of all my predictions from the offseason and which ones have gone right versus which ones have gone wrong. And then Saturday night, after the in-season tournament semifinal games, we'll be going live that evening to break down, hopefully, what will be a really fun showdown between the Lakers and the Thunder in what I think will be a much better showing from the Lakers in that game and potentially an opportunity for the Thunder to shut all that shit down in emphatic fashion. So, again, twice on Wednesday, Friday morning, and then Saturday night. Those are the next 4 Hoops Tonight shows this week, just so you guys know with the in-season tournament schedule.